effort. President Trump went to visit the victims of the Harvey hurricane. But according to MSNBC's Joe Scarborough and his panelists, Trump's attempt to help people is hilarious. President Trump helped load some supplies into a truck. "Here's your bag of cement," said Scarborough, making a dumb person voice. He mocked the president handing the driver some supplies instead of putting it in the trunk. He put the rest of the supplies in the trunk. They also joked about President Trump's hands. Again. Apparently it never gets old. The president's getting involved in the relief efforts, and it's heartening to me, said Joe. What about the family, when they came down? That would be so nice. The boys and Imka and Jared, said Mika. After the segment, Scarborough wrote an op-ed about how the American people are tired of President Trump. President Donald Trump is, of course, the most radical example of this negative political phenomenon. 7 months into his maniacal presidency, Trump is driving his approval ratings to record lows and causing friends and foes alike to experience premature presidential fatigue, wrote Scarborough. Former allies on the editorial pages of The Wall Street Journal and Washington Examiner now criticize Trump for leadership failures and his abuse of power. Republicans on Capitol Hill more frequently call out the president's aberrant behavior, wrote Scarborough. It appears as though nothing can change Scarborough's mind. Watch them mock Trump for helping people in the video. Sarah Huckabee Sanders shuts down Lib reporters having meltdown over DACA ending. Liberals seem to still have a hard time understanding why Republican President Donald Trump would want to nullify some of Democratic ex-President Barack Obama's more extreme overreaches of executive power, such as DACA. Following Attorney Jeff Sessions' announcement that DACA had been rescinded with a 6-month delay, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders held a press briefing from liberal reporters, who were clearly in panic mode. Asked CNN's Jim Acosta, who looked on the verge of a meltdown, why did the president not come out and make this announcement himself today? Why did he leave it to his attorney general? It's his decision. These kids, their lives are on the line because of what he's doing? MSNBC's Kristen Welker followed that up with, the president vowed to treat dreamers with, quote, great heart. How is this move treating them with great heart? She added, the president's decision where all this stems from. Dreamers, supporters of dreamers say this is cold-hearted. You're leaving the future of 800,000 people uncertain, up in the air. What's your message to them? Sanders silenced them with a perfect rational answer, stating, it's not cold-hearted for the president to uphold the law. We are a nation of law and order. In the day that we start to ignore the fact that we are that, we throw away everything that gives these people a reason to want to come to our country. Are you glad Sarah set them straight? Watch below. Gutfeld calls out Deems, says how Hurricane Harvey wrecked the huge lie they've been telling. Hurricane Harvey was a true tragedy, as it has now claimed 40 lives and has caused more than $100 billion in damage. However, as described by Fox News' Greg Gutfeld, it did end up exposing one of the Democrats' biggest lies as utterly false. The liberal-biased mainstream media has gained high ratings by making the claim that, as a result of Republican Donald Trump being in office, our country is the most divided it has been in a very long time. Blasting Reverend Al Sharpton for his comments about Trump, Gutfeld showed how the response to the hurricane proved how much Americans will hate each other. Said Al Sharpton about Trump during an appearance on MSNBC, we all talked about how insensitive it was for him not to mention the victims in his first trip. Commented Greg, Al Sharpton is a guy who has lived his life about himself, one of the most self-serving hustlers of our time. He is the exact opposite of what you see in the streets of Houston and everywhere. He then blasted liberals who are now somehow blaming Donald Trump, as though he were responsible for the hurricane. Said Gutfeld, this is why you're seeing, liberals, now blame Trump for this or for that. They're trying to find a narrative that matches their grim worldview because Harvey has destroyed their worldview. Added Greg about people taking part in hurricane relief efforts, there's no more division, there's no more bigotry, there's no more racism, conflict, all you're seeing 24/7 is unity, Americans all the time working together. Do you agree with Gutfeld? Watch below. Sheriff Clark just announced his brand new job. It's great for Trump. David Clark, who formerly served as sheriff of Milwaukee County, Wisconsin, surprised many when he abruptly resigned from his position. Many suspected that the reason Clark had suddenly stepped down was because he had been offered a position in the administration of President Donald Trump. Clark's name had been floated previously for an open position within the Department of Homeland Security and other jobs, and it was widely reported that Clark would take such a job if offered. It turns out that David Clark will not be joining Trump's team as part of his White House administration, but he will be directly working to help the president from the outside. Clark just announced that he has just taken a position with a pro-Trump super PAC as an advisor and spokesman. Said the press release about Clark's new work with America First Action, David Clark is an American patriot, and we are very proud to welcome him to America First. Having spent a lifetime in law enforcement, protecting and serving his community and fighting for justice and the Second Amendment, Sheriff Clark doesn't just believe in making America safe again, he's devoted his life to it. Commented David, "It gives me the chance to do what I love most, promote President Trump's agenda, including his fierce support for the American law enforcement officer, and ensure that the will of the American people who got President Trump elected is not derailed by the left or the self-serving Washington establishment." Are you glad Clark will be actively working to get Trump re-elected? Mexican president slams President Trump for trying to stop minorities from taking over USA. Former Mexican President Vicente Fox attacked President Trump for ending DACA. According to Vicente Fox, minorities are going to take over America. President Trump is ending DACA to stop this, and his attempts are futile. Everything he is saying is wrong. But one wonders, why is Mexico so concerned about us sending their citizens back to them? Trump, you have failed America. Canceling DACA, it is the worst action you have ever done against the ones that cannot defend themselves. This measure is cruel and heartless, worse than any machine. You're canceling the future of 800,000 children and young people, said Fox. Weird, their futures aren't being canceled. They are just being sent back to countries that leaders like him have no intention of fixing. You are so mistaken. The future of any country is the minorities, which will be majorities in a few years. You cannot stop the change, the progress, the future of that great nation, said Vicente. I hope your grandson never be in this terrible situation. The rest of the world, they are welcoming immigrants, but Trump keeps talking about walls. He is too stupid to realize that one day the minority will become the majority, Fox said, according to the Examiner. There are plenty of other countries that have walls. He continued his tirade on Twitter. At Real Donald Trump, minorities will soon be the majority, and remember, we're stronger together. Get it? You can't trump the dream, he tweeted. National. Actress Alyssa Milano attacks President Trump for praying for Harvey victims. President Trump has been doing everything that everyone could ask for when it comes to helping the victims of Hurricane Harvey. However, nothing Trump could do would be enough to appease Hollywood liberals. President Trump offered prayers, and actress Alyssa Milano responded by calling him in a hole. Remember, Sunday is National Prayer Day, by presidential proclamation. Tweeted President Trump. Remember, Sunday is National A Hole Day, by presidential proclamation. Responded Milano. While President Trump tries to bring the country together, it appears that Milano, and her celebrity friends just want us torn apart. What's wrong with prayer? No matter who suggested it. Responded one user. What a terrible thing to say about people who pray. Responded another. Understand that you think the POTUS is a jerkwad, but what's wrong with praying for Houston? No matter what your religion, responded another. At Real Donald Trump has pledged $1 million to Harvey victims. Can you at least put aside your pride to say well done, Mr. President? Said another. Some users pointed out facts from Milano's life that she wants everyone to forget. 44-year-old anti-Trumper Alyssa Milano is broke, didn't pay taxes and stiffed her employees, wrote one user. She even lost fans out of it. Unfortunately, I am no longer a fan since you made this callous comment, wrote one. Planned Parenthood attacks President Trump for DACA because every person has the right to live. Planned Parenthood's CEO, Cecile Richards, spoke out against President Trump for planning to end DACA. The CEO of the abortion giant argued that she believes in DACA because everyone has a right to live. You read that right. The Trump administration just announced a plan to end Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, DACA, an attack that will leave 800,000 young people who have grown up in this country at risk of deportation, including members of the Planned Parenthood community. I'm infuriated. I'm heartbroken, said Richards. DACA has helped so many young dreamers. We are resolved to fight back against this cruel and heartless decision, and I hope you are, too, she said. Then here comes the kicker. Here at Planned Parenthood, we firmly believe that every person has the right to live, work, and raise a family freely and without the threat of deportation or separation. We believe in every person's right to control their own destiny and their own body, she said. We stand with our allies who are leading this fight and will never stop fighting for this vision. Protecting immigrant families from inhumane attacks, assault, and deportations is critical to making that vision a reality, said Richards. How can she claim that Planned Parenthood supports people's right to live when they stop thousands and thousands of people from starting their lives?